Well, hello and a very good morning, a very good afternoon, and a very good evening. Ninthers. We'll take your pick based on the time in which you'll be watching the video. Uh, well, I'm hoping you all are doing well, you all are doing fine, along with members of your family, and also that you all are keeping yourself occupied, you all are taking care of yourselves, and maintaining all the precautions, and also staying happy. Now, we'll be talking about a different chapter today, the equatorial region. Now, before we go to the equatorial region, here you can see the map of the or the physical map of the world. And one of the most important feature when we or whenever we start with map reading, or whenever in whichever class you all started with map reading or understanding maps, you all had a very important feature which was discussed with you and which was described to you. That was the latitudes and the longitudes which we find on the maps. Here you'll find the longitudinal lines, the 10 degree, 15 degree, the 0 degree, again 15 degree. So you have the latitudes and the longitudes. The latitudes are the ones which are moving from the west to the east, and the longitudes are the ones which are moving from the north to the south. The latitudes, the central latitude is the 0 degree latitude, which is the equator, and this 0 degree latitude is passing from here, this area. The 0 degree latitude is passing right through the Brazil, or right through South America, Africa, moving through the islands of Sumatra, Borneo, Papua New Guinea, and that is the path of the 0 degree latitude. Now, this 0 degree latitude, this equator, divides the earth into two hemispheres, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The area, why am I talking about this? Because whenever we talk about climatic regions, one of the most important feature, or one of the most important or distinguishing feature of any two climatic region is the position of the, or is the latitudinal position of that area. What is the meaning of that? It means that those areas which are in the lower latitudes will be having higher climate or hotter climates, and those areas which are in the upper latitudes will be having in general a cooler climate. Exceptions may be there, exceptions are there, exceptions are the exceptions are ruled by other factors which influence the climate. Other factors which influence climate will be location of an area from the sea, or the distance from the sea. If there is some area which is located near the sea, that area will neither have very hot climate nor very cool climate, because the sea has a moderating influence. Those areas located near the coast, they have the sea breeze and the land breeze which moderates the temperature of that area. So that is one thing. Then you have the height. If there is a mountain, over here you have Mount Kilimanjaro. Here you have the mountain Kilimanjaro, as you can see clearly, the mountain Kilimanjaro. Although the mountain Kilimanjaro is located here, you can see this dotted line. This dotted line is the equator, and this is Mount Kilimanjaro. And this Mount Kilimanjaro, although it is near the equator, but this Mount Kilimanjaro is the tip of the Mount Kilimanjaro, or the peak of the Mount Kilimanjaro, is covered with ice throughout the year. Why is it snow? Why is it is covered with snow throughout the year? Why is it so? It is so because although it is located near the equator, but still, because of the height of that mountain, that is 5892, nearly 6000 meters high, that is why, because of the height of the mountain, as we move up in height, as the height increases of a place, the temperature starts coming down, it starts getting cooler. So this is also another very important factor which helps in determining the climate of a region. So I talked of three important factors now: the latitude, distance from the sea, and the altitude. Keeping the other two factors away from our mind right now, we'll be concentrating much on the latitudinal factor, because that is the single most important factor which contributes, or which helps us in generalizing the climatic conditions of an area. Now, what is climatology? Climatology is the study of the climate of an area and the different factors which influence and determine the climate of an area. We'll be starting with the equatorial region. But before we start with the equatorial region, how do we classify the different parts, or how do we classify the climatic regions? One very crude classification. classification, or one of the most basic classification, is that there is the torrid zone, which is there, the torrid zone first. Next comes the temperate zone, and then the frigid zone. What is the torrid zone? The torrid zone is the area which is lying between the two tropics. So here we have the Tropic of Capricorn. Over here we have the Tropic of Cancer, and the area in between will be the torrid zone. Next comes the temperate zone, from the tropics till the Arctic Circle, and from this Tropic of Capricorn till the Antarctic Circle we have the temperate zone. And after that, from the 66.5 south, that is the Arctic Circle, to the South Pole, and 66.5 degree north, that is the entire I just told the opposite. From 66.5 degree north Arctic Circle to the North Pole we have the frigid zone, and from the 66.5 degrees south Antarctic Circle over here till the South Pole we have the southern frigid zone. Now this is a very crude classification. This is the most basic classification. It means that the torrid zone will be hot, the temperate zone will be cool, not very hot, but it will be cool, and during the winter months it will be colder, and the frigid zone is always under the influence of very cold weather and is covered with snow. That is a very crude, or this is the most basic classification. But if we have to classify it in a better way, there are better ways of classifying, and when we classify them, we have a few other regions which come up. The first comes the tropical region. The tropical region, again, this tropical region will be extending from the tropics, the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn. So this area will be the tropical region. After that comes the warm temperate region. The warm temperate region will be extending, or will be moving from the 30 degree latitude to the 45 degree latitude over here. So this will be the warm temperate region. These are not characterized by very cold climates. Next comes the cold temperate region. The cold temperate region will be lying between the 45 degree latitude till the Antarctic or the Arctic Circle. So in the northern hemisphere, from 45 degree north to the 66.5 degree north, and in the southern hemisphere it will be from 45 degrees south till the 66.5 degrees south, that is the Antarctic Circle. And lastly, there will be the polar regions, the regions or the areas near the poles which are extremely cold. So this will be another kind of classification. Now in this region, or in this tropical region, we have a very distinctive type of climate, that is the equatorial region. Now from this part starts your syllabus actually, because according to the reduced syllabus, you have only the type of climate, the equatorial type of climate, its location, extent, the temperature, the climatic conditions, then you have the vegetation and the human response. So this will be your syllabus actually. So let us just understand or see what is that equatorial, or what is the equatorial type of climate. Now when we are talking of the equatorial type of climate, now this equatorial region is also known as the rainforest region. And why the rainforest region? Because now the first thing, the rain. One thing that should be coming to your mind right now is that there's lots and lots of rain. And yes, these areas, the equatorial climatic areas, are characterized, or is characterized by huge amounts of rain throughout the year. And when we talk of the equatorial region, it will be easier for you if you follow this. The areas which are there in dark pink, the areas which are marked 1, you can, I guess it is clear, the areas which are there in dark pink, these areas which are marked with the numerical 1, these areas are the areas where you will be finding the equatorial type of climate. And if you look very closely, you will find that it is, over here is the 0 degree, and this equatorial type of climate is found near the equator, the areas which are there near the equator. And this is what determine, or this is what these are the areas which are there in the equatorial type of climate. Now, when we are talking of the equatorial type of climate, we'll have to keep in mind that it is not only near the 0 degree, it extends from 0 degree. It extends from the 0 degree latitude, that is the equator, and it moves on till 10 degree. This, you have the 10 degree north and the 10 degree south. As you can see over here, this area, this entire area more or less comes under the equatorial type of climate. You can find the number 1 over here, number 1. It is lying between these, the 10 degree north and the 10 degree south latitude. So this is the location, or this is the extent of the equatorial type of climate. And what are the places you'll be finding in the equatorial type of climate? For that, let us just look at the map again. We'll be finding the equatorial type of climate in the areas of, let us see, near the, we start from Asia. In Asia, you'll be having the areas which will be having the equatorial type of climate. These areas are very important to be kept in mind. You'll be having Malaysia, then you'll be having Singapore. After that, there'll be Papua in New Guinea. This is Papua New Guinea. Then there is the Jaya. This area, this Jaya is Irian, Jaya is these areas. Next comes the Indonesia, islands of Indonesia over here. This long one, this is the island of Indonesia. Then peninsular Thailand. These areas of Thailand, not the entire area of Thailand, only the peninsular part of Thailand. So the peninsular part of Thailand. Next you have Sri Lanka. Parts of Sri Lanka also lies in this. Parts of India, these areas of India, and also the areas of very specifically this area of India near the Assam and Meghalaya, Cherrapunji. You know that Cherrapunji receives the highest amount of rainfall in the world. Cherrapunji, it was previously Cherrapunji, it is now Mawsynram. So Cherrapunji, Mawsynram, these areas of Meghalaya, Assam, these also are lying in the equatorial belt. These areas have equatorial type of climate, although it is far away from the equator. It is above the tropics also, but due to immense amount of rain which takes place in those areas, these areas are also having equatorial type of climate. Next, when we come to Africa, and in Africa you'll be having the countries Zaire and the Congo Basin. The Zaire Congo Basin, you'll be finding it over in these areas. The Zaire Congo Basin is over here. Next you have the Guinea coast in West Africa. The Guinea coast in West Africa, this area is the Guinea coast. Next, when we come to South America, most importantly it is the Amazon basin over here in Brazil. Next, we have the coastal lowlands of northeastern Brazil, these areas. Next we have coastal Colombia and parts of Ecuador. So coastal Colombia, this will be coastal Colombia and parts of Ecuador. So these are the areas which are mostly associated with the equatorial type of climate. Now, what is this equatorial type of climate like? Now, before we talk about the equatorial type of climate, there's just one thing to be kept in mind. When we talk of the tropics, and what is the meaning actually of the literal meaning of the word tropic? It means the highest or the limit of the sun's reach. Now, we'll have to keep in mind that, or we know that the sun moves in between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. What does it mean? It means that, suppose right now we are, the date is, today's date, 19th of August, and we are, our summer season is over. During the summer season, somewhere around the 21st and 22nd of June, we had the sun directly over the Tropic of Cancer. The sun was directly over here, overhead. The sun was here. And gradually what is happening now? The sun is again moving towards the south. There, on the 21st or the 22nd of September, the sun will again be back in the equator. And from that day, after that, it will start traveling further south till the Tropic of Capricorn. And on the 22nd of December, the sun will be directly overhead on the Tropic of Capricorn. That is nearly 6 months after the sun was directly overhead on the Tropic of Cancer. the sun will now be directly overhead on the Tropic of Capricorn. It was directly overhead on the Tropic of Cancer on the 22nd of June. Now it will be directly overhead on the Tropic of Capricorn on the 22nd, 21st, 22nd of December. So on 22nd of December, we'll be having the northern hemisphere places near the Tropic of Cancer, that will be having winter, and the places near the Tropic of Capricorn, it will be having summer. Again, what will happen is that the sun will again start traveling northwards. Somewhere around 19th to the 21st of March, the sun will again be near the equator, and after that it will start again traveling towards the north, and on the 22nd of June it will again be on the Tropic of Capricorn. So one thing is clear, the sun moves from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn. The sun actually does not move, but it feels as if, or it does look as if the sun is moving, the sun is changing its position because of the revolution and the rotation of the earth. Mainly the revolution which causes this variation of the sun from one place to another. So one thing was clear to you all, the sun was nearly directly always overhead in the areas of the areas around the equator. Why? Because when the sun was here at the Tropic of Cancer, the nearly direct rays of the sun was reaching the equator also. When the sun was at the equator, well, the sun was at the equator two times, and when it is there two times, it will again be getting the direct rays of the sun. And again, when the sun was here at the Tropic of Capricorn, again it was the sun was giving its near direct rays to the areas of the equator. So one thing is clear, that these areas, the equatorial areas, receive the direct rays of the sun or near direct rays of the sun throughout the year. Because of this, the temperature, or because of this, the temperatures of this equatorial region is very high, and this is high throughout the year, and there is not much difference between the summer and the winter months. There is no such summer or winter months in this equatorial region, because it is so, because the sun is always nearly directly on the top of them. So this area does not have much difference between the temperature of the coldest and the hottest months, and the mean annual or the average annual temperature is around 27 degrees Celsius. That is quite high. The range of temperature is very small. What does range of temperature mean? The range of temperature means that the difference between the highest temperature of the hottest month and the coldest temperature of the, or coolest temperature of the coldest month. Once more, difference between, or if we subtract the highest, if we subtract from the highest temperature or the hottest highest temperature from the hottest month. Suppose I'll be giving an example. Just listen to this very carefully, how to get the annual range of temperature. It is the, when we subtract the highest temperature of the hottest month, or from the highest temperature of the hottest month, we will be subtracting the coldest temperature or the lowest temperature of the coldest month. Suppose we have the temperature, and suppose the temperature is suppose we are talking of India, and if we are talking of Dhanbad, and the highest temperature of the hottest month, let it be June, and in June the highest temperature was, suppose, 47 degrees Celsius, and that was the highest temperature of the year, and the coldest temperature or the lowest temperature of the year was around 5 degrees Celsius. So the annual range will be 47 minus 5, that is 42 degrees Celsius. That is a huge amount of deviation. That is the amount of, or that is the range of temperature. The temperature ranges from this to this. But when we are talking of the equatorial region, the range is very, very less. That is just about 3 degrees Celsius. And this means that there is not much difference between the temperature of the hottest and the coldest months. The diurnal range of temperature is also very small. What is the diurnal range of temperature? It means in a day, the difference between the hottest temperature of the day and the coldest temperature of the day. Suppose today's temperature on the 19th of August, the hottest temperature of on the 19th of August, the hottest temperature which we'll be getting today, maybe it is 37 degree, and the coldest or the coolest it will become today at night, suppose it is 21 degree. So the difference will be 16 degrees. So Okay, 16 will be your diurnal range of temperature or the daily range of temperature. In the equatorial area, this daily range of temperature is also very small, only about 7 degrees. And what this means is that the night time at or during the night, the temperature does not fall down very low. Most important reason for this, what actually happens is that during the daytime the surface of the earth gets heated up, and what happens is that during the night this earth which got heated up during the day, it starts releasing its radiation, and the radiations move up and escape into the space. But in the equatorial region, this equatorial region area is during the night also, or most of the time, it is covered with clouds. Why is it covered with clouds? It is covered with clouds because there was huge amount of, or the sun was shining very bright during the day. There was a lot of sunshine during the day, lot of evaporation and transpiration which took place during the day. And because of this huge amount of evaporation which took place during the day, what actually happened is that a lot of water vapor moved up, and because of the lot of water vapor which moved up into the air, or a lot of water vapor which was there in the atmosphere, it caused clouds. And as there is a large cloud covering or huge covering of cloud, the earth's radiation is unable to escape into the space, and it is again sent back to the earth. This is a greenhouse effect is taking place over there. The clouds are not allowing the earth's radiation to escape into the sky or into the space. This is what is causing the nighttime temperature also to be very high, because this heat is already trapped. Now over here, well, the nights are not very cool, that is why. And there are two maxima and two minima of temperature related to the apparent movement of the sun north or south. What it actually means is that there will be two maximum temperatures of this region, two minimum temperatures of the region, and the difference is not very high, as we just saw that the annual range of temperature is very small. There is very little variation in the length of the day and the night. This is also very important. During the summer months, when the Tropic of Cancer is getting the direct rays of the sun, we have near the Tropic of Cancer longer days, shorter nights. And opposite, during the winter months over here in Tropic of Capricorn, they have longer nights and shorter days. But as the sun is nearly always overhead on the equator, what actually happens is that the length of the day and the night does not vary very much and is more or less equal throughout the year. So it is nearly 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. Next comes the rainfall. Now this equatorial area is characterized by very heavy rainfall throughout the year, and the rainfall amount received in this region is between 150 and 350 centimeters. So 150-350 centimeters of rain happens every year, and if you take it on average, 1 centimeter of rain is taking place every day. So that is like a lot of rainfall, and this mean annual rainfall is 250 centimeter. And mean annual rainfall means the average rainfall in all the months is around 250 centimeter, and the rainfall is distributed throughout the year. It is not that like in India, where most of the rain is happening during the monsoon season and the other seasons are more or less dry. It is not the case in or for the equatorial region. In the equatorial region, the rainfall is distributed throughout the year. The rainfall is of convectional type. What it actually means is that convectional rainfall is when the ground gets heated up, there is a lot of evaporation and transpiration. The what you say is that the water vapor rises up, clouds are formed, and then rain falls. That is convectional rainfall. Another kind of rainfall is the orographic rainfall. Orographic rainfall happens when the wind, or when the rainfall bearing wind, or when moisture laden wind is moving, and it suddenly comes in the path of a mountain, and what happens is that the mountain will force the wind to move up, and as the wind moves up, it condenses and gives rain. This is orographic rainfall. So what kind of rainfall happens in the equatorial region? It is convectional rainfall. Convectional rainfall is when, due to the heat, or when the earth's surface gets heated up, there is a lot of evaporation, lots of transpiration, all of the water vapor moves up into the atmosphere and it cools and it is your normal water cycle thing which you have read. It cools, forms cloud, and it gives rain. And this rain happens every day during the afternoon, because during the day the land gets heated up, and during the afternoon after 2 o'clock, after 2 p.m., the most of the rainfall happens, and it is mostly near 4 o'clock. That is why it is called the 4 o'clock rainfall. And this type of rainfall which happens in the afternoon is accompanied by heavy thunder and lightning. Next we have, when we are talking of the rainfall, actually this rainfall is well, this region has very high humidity, and nearly throughout the year this humidity is around 80%. So that is a lot of humidity. And this hot and humid climate gives a monotonous weather. Actually, monotonous weather means throughout the year there is not much difference in the weather conditions. It is nearly the same. Everyone knows that every afternoon it has to rain. This rain happens more during the times of March and times of September, that is the equinox times, around the areas when it is, or around the time when the earth or when the sun is nearly directly on the equator, that is on the 22nd or 21st of September and 19 to 21st of March. So during these times the rainfall is much higher. Why? Because it is now directly over it, the sun is directly over it on the equator, but other times also the rainfall is quite high. This hot and humid temperature, these lead to, well, when the temperature is very high and also it is very humid, what actually happens is that there is huge amounts, or there are many diseases which takes place. Diseases like malaria, yellow fever, sleeping sickness. Now several seasons, it is a very funny thing actually, several seasons takes place in a single day. During the daytime in the equatorial areas it is bright and sunny, and it feels as if we are in the spring season. And during, as it comes near the afternoon, it becomes stuffy hot, it becomes humid, it feels as if it is in the rainy season now. And then it starts raining. During the night time again the temperature does come down a lot. There is a difference of 7 degree on average, so the temperature comes down, it feels a bit cool, but then again it is very hot and humid again. Not hot, but it is very humid. So it is cool but not very cool, and it is very humid. So you have so many different types of seasons taking place in a single day. And well, there is this rainfall, is what this torrential rainfall, this heavy and huge rainfall every day, and the hot temperatures during the day and the rainfall during the afternoon is what actually makes this equatorial type of climate different from the other types of climate. So one of the most important feature, if it is asked what is the most important feature of this equatorial type of climate, this will be the most important feature. Throughout the year there is high temperature, and throughout the year nearly every afternoon there is this the convectional rainfall which takes place. Nights are fairly cool, but high humidity is there in the night times also. But then those areas which are near the coast, they have the moderating influence, or there is the sea breeze which comes in. So there is this land breeze, sea breeze thing which is happening in the coastal areas, so they do not have such high temperatures. And this was it about the climatic conditions, or the temperature of the temperature and the climatic conditions of the equatorial type. Next we'll be doing the natural vegetation in the next video. Till then, take care, please stay safe, stay happy, and keep yourself occupied. Thank you.